Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and we are ever so close into Bears training camp starting, and us as Bear fans are very happy that we are this close to having some Bears football back. We are heading into training camp. We are heading into this preseason, and I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about things that we should expect to look for, what we actually should be looking for, and just entirely the expectations and things to watch out for heading into this training camp and this preseason. And that's all I'm going to talk about in today's video. But before I start talking about it, make sure you guys leave this video a like, as that always helps this channel to continue to grow and it beats the YouTube algorithm. And if you are not subscribed and you fit into the 96% of the people that watch my videos and are not subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post. Whew. Bears football's almost here, so let's talk about it. Without further ado, let's dive into it. As we all know, coming into this Bears season, we're transitioning from Matt Nagy to Matt Eberflus. And one thing that I'm personally going to look out for as a guy that hated Matt Nagy is the culture change. The culture change was something that is very needed in Chicago. Culture change was long overdue. And how is Matt Eberflus going to bring the culture change into this Bears training camp? Is he going to have these players playing different? Are they going to have a different mentality? Are they going to have different looks? Are they going to have everything just different from what we've seen in the Matt Nagy era? And that is one thing I'm going to look out for. How are these training camp practices going to be different? How are things going to be different as far as the overall makeup of the team and the overall mentality of the team versus what we had over the last few years with Matt Nagy? Now, me personally, I believe Matt Eberflus is a guy that can get the job done. We've seen what he did with the defense in Indianapolis after he came in 2018. That defense continued to improve every single season. And speaking of the Bears defense, one thing that we should be looking out for is how is this team going to transition from a 3-4 to a 4-3? Now, we still have a lot of new pieces. Morrow, we still have Roquan Briscoe that we drafted. You still have Kyler Gordon that they drafted. You have Justin Jones up front. And we still have older pieces, as in Robert Quinn. You still have a veteran, very underrated linebacker in Roquan Smith. You still have Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson. So it's interesting to see how this Bears defense is going to look from a 3-4 over the past couple of years to a 4-3. And, of course, one player that I'm going to be looking out for outside of the rookies is Travis Gibson. We're going to look to see what Travis Gibson can do in a more elevated role after the trading of Khalil Mack. We all know Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn last season, before Khalil Mack went out with injuries, they were really getting after the quarterback. Now, Robert Quinn continued his very great play, breaking the Bears single season sack record. And I just want to see, number one, if he's going to come to training camp at all. And two, how is Travis Gibson going to perform, and how is he going to look in that elevated role? Now you're going to have Roquan Smith playing a different role in the defense, with him being a 4-3 linebacker now to where he was a 3-4 over the past couple of years. How is Roquan Smith going to transfer? Now, Roquan Smith over the past couple of years has been an overlooked linebacker and a very underrated linebacker. One of the top 5 linebackers, in my opinion, and it's just not me being a Bears fan. I think he's one of the top 5 linebackers in the league, and he really, really, really gets overlooked. You're going to see if Eddie can bounce back with Roquan Briscoe, who's more of a box safety, and Eddie Jackson is more of that free, instinctive, roaming safety. And it's interesting to see how he's going to look in that role. And especially with them being in a 4-3 defense now, I could see a scenario where Roquan Smith plays more of that Darius Leonard type of role, because those two linebackers are very, very special, talented linebackers. And I think with him coming from the Indianapolis Colts and Eberflus that I'm talking about with that defense, Roquan Smith, I think is going to play that Darius Leonard role in this new Chicago Bears 4-3 defense. And we're just seeing how Travis Gibson develops, and we're seeing how he is going to respond, playing more of a role versus what he did the last couple of seasons with Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn in the fold. So the main thing is, how's this team going to look as far as the motivation, as far as the culture change, and how is this 4-3 defense going to look? Now, the main thing most Bear fans, including myself, are going to want to see is, what is this Chicago Bears offense going to look like under Lou Getsy versus what we had the past couple of years under Matt Nagy, offense coordinator Bill Lazor. The main thing, of course, I'm going to get that a little bit later, Justin Fields, but let's start with the offensive line. The Bears have made some moves. James Daniels ended up leaving in free agency. We still have Mustipher. We still have Whitehair. Tevin Jenkins is going into year 2 healthy. Larry Bourne was going into year 2 more healthy. We did pick up Dakota Dozier, but over the past few days, it was learned that he had surgery on his torn ACL, which that is going to hurt, I believe, the depth of this offensive line. And who's going to step up and play that role? Because Dakota Dozier was brought in as a guy who can potentially be a starter for this line, potentially help this line improve from the trash that we had last season. And I believe Whitehair is still going to be a solid player. I believe Tevin Jenkins is going to continue to develop in year 2. And I also believe that Larry Bourne has the potential to be a very solid lineman in his offense. So we're going to see how this Bears offensive line looks. Of course, the quarterback position in Justin Fields, like I said, we're going to get into that later. But the meat of your offense, everything starts with your offensive line. Coming from me, I played offensive line in high school, so I know a little bit that the offensive line starts everything. The game is won in the trenches. As far as running, blocking, and pass protection, the game is going to be won right there with those 5 guys as a unit. And we're going to need those 5 guys as a unit to improve. We're going to have to see how this offensive line looks. Can they sustain blocks? Can they pick up blitzes? And is this system going to be set up to where this offensive line can succeed and flourish? That is going to be one thing that we're going to look out for with Luke Getsy and this pretty much makeshift, not makeshift per se, but this new look Chicago Bears offensive line. And another thing that we're going to look out for with this Bears offense is, of course, the wide receiver position. As the Bears just traded for N'Keal Harry, which I think that was a absolute steal if he works out. You still have Darnell Mooney, who I think gets overlooked as well, and he gets a little bit underrated. You still have Equanimeous St. Brown and his size and his speed for his size. You have Byron Pringle, who brings a lot of speed to your offense. Vita Jones, he brings a lot of speed. So this wide receiving core, including the tight ends, with a guy like Cole Kmet, he's into year 3, and I really believe he should take another step forward. You're going to probably see more of this tight end being used as a security blanket, and I think they're going to have to use that security blanket, especially with Justin Fields into year 2 and developing. And Cole Kmet can be one of the better tight ends. He's done a lot this offseason to work on his game and to work on him improving, and I believe we should see that with this Bears offense. We should see that, along with the running game in Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, a very underrated 2 running back pair. David Montgomery was out for some time with a knee injury last season, and Khalil Herbert stepped in and he played some really solid football for the Bears last year. So that is another thing we're going to be looking out for, is can this running game continue to be the staple of this Bears offense when they're switching from Nagy and Lazor to Getsy. And another thing is the screen game. That is something that we lacked over the past few years, is using the running backs in the screen game. Now, Montgomery is, I don't think, more of a receiving back. I think Khalil Herbert is more of a receiving back than David Montgomery. But when your running games gets well, or your pressure is starting to get to you a little bit, the screen game can be a very useful tool in this offense. And that is something we really lacked to see over the past couple of seasons. So the screen game for the Bears is something that we're going to have to look out for, or are they going to implement that into their offense? Now let's get into the meat of everything, what this season is about. Justin Fields. I think this season should be more about the development of Justin Fields than anything. Winning, of course, you're going to want to win. Defense, okay, we have a solid defense. But this particular season, we should be worrying about and focusing on how Justin Fields develops, because we gave up picks. We gave up this past draft's first round pick to move up to select Justin Fields. And he's in year 2 of his career. He's under a new head coach. He's under a new offense, new terminology, new system. We should be, as an organization, I'm speaking as an organization, should be focused on developing Justin Fields and getting him to be the franchise quarterback that you drafted him to be. Now, Justin Fields this offseason, of course, he's a player that he went to change his mechanics. I'm one that has been saying that he holds the ball a little bit too long. It takes a little bit long for the ball to get out of his hands. And that is something I've seen as an Ohio State fan, and I've watched for them the last 2 seasons he was there. He struggled as far as getting the ball out a little bit quicker and making his reads a little bit quicker. And we're going to see how that technique really implies itself to his development. Getting the ball out quicker and making quicker reads, I think, are going to be the key into his development. Now, a lot of Bear fans are going to say he doesn't have a lot of receivers. They're the hell big name receivers, but I think those receivers that we have are going to bring a lot of value to this Bears offense. One thing we can see during this preseason, during training camp, is if the rollouts, if his athleticism, the bootlegs, and those type of plays are going to be implemented into this offense, so you can have a different dynamic with an athletic, fast quarterback like Justin Fields. Are we going to see different types of game plans, different types of systems in the scheme that is going to be developed around Fields' skill set, and not a system that you're going to implement Fields in that doesn't really heighten what he does best? Now, the Bears, of course, last season didn't really take a lot of shots deep. Well, of course, you had a bad offensive line. So I think you're going to see more of that implemented into this Bears offense. So, of course, the culture change is going to be something we look out for. How this defense is going to transition from a 3-4 to a 4-3. How these pieces are going to look in this new defense. The development of Justin Fields and the offensive line are some of the things that I'm going to look out for during this Bears training camp and during this preseason. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys leave this video a like, as it always helps the channel to grow. Comment your thoughts down below. What do you expect to see from the Bears this year? What are things that you're going to be looking out for? Did I miss anything? Make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to see what you guys think. And as always, if you've gotten to this point, click that subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss a single video. And if you have gotten to this point of this video, I want you to comment below, Bear Down, Chicago Bears, so I know you've gotten to this point. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe, have a great next Sunday, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.